Hey guys, what's going on? Bonzi-chan here, back at you with another video. This is me, another one of my little talking videos I like to do. And today we're going to talk about the chase cards, I guess we would call them, from Sun and Moon Guardians Rising. Pre-releases are this weekend, so I'm going to let you guys know what cards I think you guys should be looking to get out of your packs, as well as what cards I think you should be trying to trade for early before people determine the values of the cards when they go up. Now, first thing to get out of the way is all GXs are definitely worth trying to pick up just because of their potential viability in the format. So, unfortunately, we don't have the official English set list. Those won't be out until Friday or Saturday at the earliest, probably. Well, Saturday at the latest. They put the set lists out right before pre-releases, and as of recording this, it is Tuesday morning. But I'm gonna start off with trainer cards that I think are worth picking up. The first one definitely I think would probably be Choice Band right here. Now Choice Band is a card that lets you, it's a Pokemon tool card. When you equip it to your Pokemon, that Pokemon does an additional 30 damage to your opponent's EXs and GXs. This is a great tool card, I think, if you are a budget player, just because you can play things like Gollyspot or another popular one is Greninja Break. You can also play things like Passimian would probably benefit well from this. Vespiquen would do well with this too. Letting you do an extra 30 damage to EXs and GXs is always a nice thing. As well as things like Turbo Dark, I think may pick this up too instead of playing Fighting Fury Belt. But that's definitely a card I would definitely recommend for it, and as an uncommon, it is not a bad card to be chasing. It'll probably be cheap before people determine that as good. Another thing is, guys, all stadium cards are always worth getting a playset of just to have in case they do become viable, and usually they are cheap. Another card I think will be good is Sylveon GX right here. It does evolve from Eevee, so you can use the Energy Evolution Eevee that we got in Sun and Moon base to evolve into this this Sylveon. And its first attack Magical Ribbon is you get to search your deck for up to 3 cards, put them into your hand. That is basically a Talonflame with no damage, but you get the extra third card. People always will say, oh, but they can end you, but there's always me those times when they don't have the end. Talonflame always had that potential too, but no one always said, oh, they could end you. It's a good card, I think, at the start. Plus, for double Carlos and Fairy Energy, you do 110 damage, and then the GX move you can return 2 of their bench Pokemon to their hand along with all cards attached to it. That can definitely screw up an evolution line, especially late game against something like Decidueye, where you could like bump their stadium and then do this, and if it's late enough in the game, they might not have another Forest of Giant Plants. It could completely swing a matchup in your favor. I definitely think Sylveon is definitely a card worth picking up, especially if we get more fairy cards in the future to go with this card. Unfortunately, the only viable fairy deck currently in the format, there's 2 actually really, is Gardevoir, which this card would not really benefit. Gardevoir would not really benefit from this nearly as much, but I definitely think there's some possibility as being a companion, just to maybe get the early game going for you to get those cards that you need early. Xerneas Break could probably go with this pretty well, just because of all the energy attachments that deck likes to do. Rainbow Road really wouldn't play this because Xerneas itself already counts as a fairy type itself, and Xerneas Break trying to hit Rainbow Force Xerneas trying to hit for massive amounts of damage. This is all from the Strength and Expansion, like our 1.5. That was like really the main new cards. From the actual Guardians Rising, I think Gollyspot, if you're a budget player, is definitely worth picking up. For Grassland Double Carlos, it does 80 damage, but if it's a GX or EX, it does an extra 70 damage. So 150 damage already off the bat if it's an EX or GX. With EXs and GXs being so heavily played, this card's definitely good. It's a grass typing, and with water being so prevalent, with Aqua Patch going to come out, I definitely think Gollyspot's definitely a contender. I'm actually thinking about making a Gollyspot deck with Talonflame or Evolutions to hit for weakness against all the popular decks in the format. I definitely think Gollyspot's definitely a card to not sleep on, guys. Next up, Tyranitar GX. Of course, you're going to want to pick up. Fire is really it goes well with Volcanion. I definitely think this card will find its way into Volcanion once it comes out. Alolan Ninetales actually has been taking Japan by storm. I will link to PTCGO's radio Radio's video that he did about this deck in Japan that actually surprisingly took a national event. But I definitely think with Aqua Patch, this card I think is definitely good with Blizzard Edge, 160 damage, but you discard 2 energy. Aqua Patches definitely solve that problem. And then you have things like Energy Switch. Definitely, I think this card might actually be better than I initially thought. Another card to not sleep on, I think, is Tapu Koko. This is probably the first promising lightning card that we've had in a long time since Raikou. And Raikou wasn't that good just because it just couldn't hit for the damage you wanted. It was really weak in comparison to like Flareon or Arkeldea, which were similar cards. They actually had similar attacks, just different energy requirements. But this one has the ability that once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may move any lightning energy attached to your Pokemon to it. And if you move the energy, you switch into your active. So if you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you can move a bunch of lightning energy off of your active onto it. You can move all lightning energy. It didn't say specifically your active, so you can move like 6 energy to it and put it into your active and be ready to go. I definitely think this has some potential with things like Max Elixir, Electro from Evolutions. And expanded, you have Eels. And Skyclaw for 3 energy, 130 damage is not bad. Right now, Yveltal is still really popular, so I think this will one-shot Yveltal. Also, it has no weakness, so it's pretty good having no weakness right now. So I definitely think Tapu Koko's not a card to sleep on. Its GX move is pretty good though too. It does 50 damage times the number of all energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So even if you're using double colorless, this card's still going to be hitting for a lot. Base, it's going to be doing 150. I definitely think Tapu Koko will be a deck that will make its way into this at least standard, possibly even expanded, because the Yveltal Maxis is still really popular, and since it's not an evolution, that deck has no way of locking it out. What was the next card I was going to talk about? Como OGX is definitely a card I think is going to come out, be good, just because Fairy is not very prevalent except for Mega Gardevoir, and that card's starting to see the deck's starting to see less and less play as other things have came out, especially Alon being so prevalent. The only thing holding this card back is that it is a stage 2. But we have things like Rare Candy, so it's possible that this card could be good. And its attacks are outrageous. I mean, for colors you do 30 damage and you take 30 less damage during your following turn. For a lightning and a fighting and 2 colorless, you do 130 damage, and it's not affected. It's not affected by effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's not affected by things like Lugia's Pressure, where it reduces damage by 20. Glaceon can't stop it. It's really good attack for 130 damage. And then for the same amount of energy, you can do 240 for the GX move. This is really nice because we do have things like Double Dragon Energy still in the format. Next card was gonna be Energy Lotto. I think this card people are sleeping on as a trainer. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck, if there's any energy cards there, you may choose one, reveal it, and put it into your hand. This is basically kind of like a Max Elixir for special energy. Sure, you can't attach it from, you can't use that, you're using your energy attachment for the turn from whatever card you find from this, but when you really need to dig for that double colors or that double dragon or that strong energy if you're playing a fighting deck, this card is going to be good. I definitely think it'll make its way maybe into Turbo Dark that are playing Yveltal, just to grab that extra double colorless energy. Field Blower, everyone wants this card. I'm already calling it. It's an amazing card. You can discard tool cards and stadium cards. It's awesome. I definitely think in expanded this will be good too, as an additional tool removal against things like Headringer and Jamming Net. Discarding your opponent's Spirit Links, discarding Float Stones, discarding Stadiums. All really nice things you can discard with that. Hala, I definitely think is going to be a one of in a lot of decks, especially, or maybe even possibly even as much as 2 or 3, or maybe even a main draw support in any deck that wants to use its GX move early. I think Solgaleo Lurantis would definitely benefit from this card just because you're able to grab so many cards off that. Because Solgaleo Lurantis wants to use Solgaleo's Soul Burst in the earliest turns in the game as possible. So I definitely think Hala will definitely make its way into that deck, as well as maybe something like Lapras might use this too. I don't really see Decidueye Vileplume using it, and I don't really see maybe Tauros Hammers might use this though. I definitely think it's definitely a card worth considering. especially after a rotation happens. Let's see what else we got here. We got, of course, you know, everyone wants the shiny stuff, so there's all your shiny stuff, guys. Another card that I think is definitely not worth sleeping on is Garbodor. This is a different Garbodor than what we have. It's attack for a single Psychic. It does 20 damage times the number of item cards from your opponent's discard pile. And with how many people play item cards nowadays, you can definitely be hitting for a lot of damage early on in the game. Let's say your opponent plays an Ultra Ball, a Trainer's Mail, another Ultra Ball, another Ultra Ball. You know, that's 60 damage right out the gate. You know, later in the game, you can see as many as 4 Ultra Balls, a couple of VS Seekers, some fighting, some Trainer's Mail, some fighting Fury Belts. You know, the list goes on and on. This card I definitely think will make its way into a lot of decks that are playing Psychic. I definitely think also it could be its own standalone budget deck with maybe something like Trevenant, or maybe even Espeon GX could definitely probably use this card too, just as a secondary attacker. Next thing is Tapu Lele. This is going to be the big chase card for the set. This is basically a better Jirachi. It has the same ability as Jirachi, lets you grab a supporter from your deck and add it to your hand. It also has basically has the same attack as Lugia with Arrow Ball. It does 20 damage times the number of energy attached to both active Pokemon, and it isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So that's really nice, but then again, there's not a whole lot of things that have resistance to Psychic. Against things like Mega Mewtwo, this would suck to not have that weakness, but it doesn't really matter. For single double cards, that's pretty good, and then for single Psychic Energy, you get to heal 2 of your bench Pokemon to full. It has 170 HP too, which is really nice. The only downside is that it's not searchable by Hoopa, which was the nice thing about Jirachi, is that you could search it with Hoopa, and I definitely do not think Pokemon's gonna ever make a card equivalent of Hoopa for GXs, just because of how dominant that Hoopa Shaman engine was for so long. It still actually is still dominant to this day. Lycanroc GX, the night form, I think is going to be a very good card. When you bench it, when you evolve into it, you can. It's a Lysander. Its attack for fighting and double crush does 110 damage. We have things like Carping Break to accelerate energy. In expanded, we have things like Karina. Death Rogue GX for fighting in colors does 50 damage times the number of your opponent's bench Pokemon. With how big benches are getting nowadays, I definitely think this card's going to see some play. Next thing is Metagross GX. I don't think this card's going to be nearly as good as people think it's going to be, but I definitely think it's fun. And then the next big chase card, of course, is Aqua Patch. This is going to make tip water over the edge, I think. But so far, I don't really, not an existing water deck, I don't think it's going to really abuse this very well. Quad Lapras might slide this into their decks. I think this card could bring Primal Kyogre back for a little while in Standard, just because Primal Kyogre could benefit from having Aqua Patches. Rescue Stretcher is awesome because you can choose one Pokemon from your discard pile and add it to your hand, or choose 3 Pokemon cards to put back into your deck. It's a hybrid between Super Rod and Buddy Buddy Rescue. So this is my card. It's definitely going to be a card you guys want in your collection. Malo, good in certain decks. I think Quad Lapras would really benefit from this card, just because you play this, put 2 cards you want on top of your deck, and then collect and draw those 2 cards for your following turn. Of course, there's always the possibility of being end, but you know, that's always a risk you have to take. More shiny stuff, guys. More shiny stuff, and it's all just shiny stuff. So I definitely think that cards you're going to want to get from this set to recap are Aqua Patch, Field Blower, Golly Spot, Choice Band. Tapu Lele, though, definitely the biggest one. I think Tapu Lele easily is probably going to be a $20, $30 card once it comes out. It'll probably stabilize around 30, just because of how good it is, and also depends on what the pull rates are of Guardians Rising. Aqua Patch is probably going to be like a $10, $15 uncommon, just because it's so good, and if you get the secret rare, well, you just did the lottery. Well, that was just a little quick video, guys, talking about Guardians Rising and what cards I think you want to prioritize when you get in pre-releases, and cards you definitely want to trade for early. Until next time, guys, peace out, have a good one. Like somewhere around 170 or 180, but 190 is really nice. survives it gets really hard to one-shot even with weakness, depending upon